Connie Erickson. Welcome to another Live at 5. And if you join my Facebook group or you're watching because your partner's so shut down, this is the live for you this week and next week because that's what I'm going to talk about. Um, as always, I've got bad news and good news. And the bad news is you can't change your partner. You can't make someone communicate with you. But the good news is that anything you do to change your behavior will change the dynamics of the relationship, which in turn will probably spark some sort of change in your partner, although it may or may not be the desired change. So, let's talk about people who shut down or who are shut down. And there's a couple of good reasons that people are quote unquote shut down. And just to piss you off is probably not one of the reasons. In my experience, there's two main reasons that partners are shut down. It's either one, that they just feel overwhelmed and they don't know what to do, and two, they feel that they're not heard. They don't feel heard. They don't feel like their opinion is valued, so they just stop talking. Now, overwhelm typically happens in the context of a discussion or a disagreement. Not feeling heard can be more long-standing. Sometimes it's becomes a way of being in that relationship or in every relationship. So today, I'm just going to be talking about the first one. And shutting down in the context of an argument, that's what I'm talking about. When people shut down in the context of an argument, it's usually because they just don't know what else to do. It's a form of flight or fight. Usually they feel overwhelmed and they might not even realize exactly what they feel, but they feel overwhelmed with information. Some people just need more time to process things than others. And if you're coming at them, they shut down. Overwhelmed with the multifacets of the argument and all the moving parts, overwhelmed with all that might be tied to the discussion, past hurts, other arguments, personal histories, future outcomes, overwhelmed with your emotion, overwhelmed with their own emotion. It's a lot. And when people shut down like this, relationship experts John and Julie Gottman call this stonewalling. And it's one of the four horsemen of the relationship apocalypse. That's bad. Stonewalling is basically checking out, and typically men do this way more than women, but women can do it too. Stonewalling can look like ignoring, zoning out, or sometimes even simply doing something else, like watching TV or doing a chore. Most stonewallers are not mean people. They just don't know what else to do. They might be too angry to think clearly. They might think, oh, maybe if I just stay quiet, maybe if I just let her go on like this will blow over. Sometimes it's bad timing, like WTF, the game's on, why is she bringing this up now? Or maybe the person who's doing the stonewalling is just getting what we therapists call flooded. They're getting really anxious or upset or angry, and they just shut down. The thing about stonewalling is, in the short term, it usually leads to the escalation of the non-stonewaller. So, like, one person shuts down and the other one gets louder because they're both so frustrated. And you may have been there, right? And the antidote to stonewalling is taking breaks and coming back to the discussion or argument, as the case may be. This isn't really easy to do or easy to understand if you're the one who isn't shut down. You're in the middle of it, right? You want to feel understood, you want to understand things, you want to work things out, and you can't feel okay until things are resolved. The bad news for you is the only effective way to deal with a partner who is shutting down is to give them more space. Let me repeat that. The only effective way to deal with a partner who is shutting down is to give them more space. I know, right? Frustrating. But you cannot effectively coax your partner out of shutting down. You cannot demand that they open up. It's kind of like having a pet turtle. You just kind of have to wait and make sure you don't miss it when they do come out of their shell. The good news is that the more times they come out of their shell and feel safe, like someone's not trying to bite their head off, the more they'll come out in the future, the easier it gets. So, as I said, the antidote to shutting down is taking breaks, self-soothing, and coming back to it. Know that even if your partner doesn't look overwhelmed, they're stuck. They don't know what else to do. Because if they did know a better way, they'd probably be doing it. So if your partner is shutting down, you also need to stop. You need to stop right then. Stop and tell your partner something like, I can see you don't want to talk about this. Let's take a break and come back to it. Your thoughts on this are really important to me. Let's talk about it again tomorrow. Then, and this is probably the most important part, then you have to give yourself a lot of self talk. You have to tell yourself, it's okay. I can be okay even though this isn't resolved. We don't have to talk this out right now. It's way better to wait until we're calmer. Just keep telling yourself that kind of stuff and then try to calm yourself. Think of something else, take a walk, write out your thoughts. But your job right now is to self soothe. It's hard work. It's really hard work to calm yourself down when all you want to do is talk it out. It's hard because not only this time you have to calm yourself down, but the next time you talk about it, you're probably going to have to take a break as well, and probably even the time after that. It takes a long time for these changes to stick. It's not an easy fix, but again, the only effective thing to do is to give your partner space. And you need to be patient, like 6 months to a year or more patient. But know that you're part of a system, and once you change your behavior, you change a part of the system, and it's impossible for the other part or parts to stay the same. So that's my take. Let me know how it works, and next week I will talk more about the second way of shutting down and not be heard, not feeling heard. So give your shutting down partner more space and be patient. That's my best advice. Thanks.